Hello, I'm Natasha, and this is Always Be Crafting. It is a Saturday morning, and on Saturdays, I sew. Oh, wow, what a busy, busy week it has been. It is currently July. My camera's at a different angle, so you can't even see my calendar very well behind my head. But it is July 13th, Saturday, July 13th. And this past week, I have been working primarily at the theater. In the summers, I often, not every summer, but I often do costumes for summer theater. And this summer, I'm assisting the lead costumer on a show of a production of Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is one of my favorite shows. Now, I come in after the lead costumer and her interns have been working for about 2 weeks. So I get to be sort of like the backup person who gets to help fix the final things and just come in when the actors move from the rehearsal space into the performance space and be an extra pair of hands and help run wardrobe during the run of the show. So as things break or things need altering, I get to MacGyver things. I'm pretty quick with quick repairs, and yeah, I love it. And it's also fun because as things have to change because now they're on stage and you're like, oh no, we don't like how this looks, then I get to assist the costumer with the creative stuff. She is super talented, but I love getting to be her sounding box, her sounding board, I guess. So as she has ideas, she bounces them off of me, and sometimes I get to have ideas and bounce them off of her, and it's a lot of fun. I used to do more children's theater in the summer, and I've done lead costuming in the past. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. I much prefer being assistant. Much prefer it. A lot less stress. A lot more fun. So I have been busy this week doing that, and I haven't had as much time to do sewing in my own space. That being said, I did finish. If you've been here before, you've heard about the dog quilt, the dog blanket. It's not really kind of technically as a quilt, but it's not a patchwork quilt. And most people associate the word quilt with patchwork. It's quilted because it's multiple layers bound together. That's what makes it a quilt. But it's not patchwork because it's not lots of pieces sewn together on top, technically. But it does have applique. Oh my gosh, too many definitions of too many words. I took a blanket. I'm going to put a picture here of the finished product. A friend, her dog passed away. She wanted a memory blanket in honor of her dog, which took the dog's blanket, which was fleece on one side, like Polar Tech fleece that you might wear or cuddle up with, something you enjoy, on one side, and then that fake wool Sherpa on the other side, which is great for dogs and pets. They love it. It's, a lot of dog bedding is made out of this really fuzzy, kind of chunky synthetic wool, right? So on the fleece side, the blue side, blue, gray, browns, lots of different colors, kind of paisley decoration, she asked if I could incorporate the soft dog toys in some way. So what I did is I took apart the soft dog toys. I took out their stuffing, took out their squeakers, I turned them into patches, and then applied them, also known as applique, applied them to the fleece blanket and sewed them on. And then I covered the entire backside, that synthetic wool, fuzzy fleece side, I covered in a beautiful gray striped cuddle Cuddle is a form of minky. Minky is a type of fabric. If you go into fabric stores, you'll look up something called minky. Cuddle is a specific brand. It's by a company called Shannon. They, in my opinion, have the highest quality. So I refer to it by its brand. It's not tissue, it's Kleenex. You know what I mean? It's not minky, it's Cuddle. So it's Cuddle, and it's so amazingly soft. Now, when you work with Cuddle, it does shed. Like when you cut it, you're cutting through lots of fibers because it's almost like a fake fur. And so you just have to be incredibly careful with your space. So I had my vacuum ready. I was absolutely prepared. So it meant really getting my sewing room in order. I cleared my table. I put away as many things as I could. And I did it. And it's exciting because, drum roll, I also got my new sewing desk this week. So last month in June, I purchased a new sewing machine. Now I have my old Pfaff. It's actually sitting right next to me right here. My Pfaff Select 1546. I have had this machine for almost 20 years, about 20 years. My oldest son is 19, and I bought it before he was born. So I'm guessing I've had a machine for 20 years now. And when I bought it, I was like, you know what? This is going to be the machine that I make Halloween costumes on. Like that was the vision I had in my mind. I'm going to make baby blankets. I'm going to make Halloween costumes. I'm going to make everything my children need. Like that was the vision. We had just purchased our home that we live in. We've been in the home now for almost 21 years. So yeah, we were just recently in our home. We hadn't been in our home for very long. And I was nesting and I was getting cozy, and I'm not even sure I was pregnant with my son yet. So yeah, it's I love this machine. Anyways, I had bought a different sewing machine during the pandemic. This sewing machine, the Pfaff, my Pfaff Select, it needed a tune-up, but during the pandemic, you could not do anything. Like you could not go to a sewing machine repair store and get anything fixed. And I was desperate to make masks for people, you know? Like I was like, I need to make masks because that's what you did during the pandemic. And I had COVID early days and I was really sick, and I think I was just going a little crazy. And I thought, that's it. I'm just going to buy a new sewing machine because I've always wanted an upgraded, like computerized sewing machine anyways. So I'll have two sewing machines. It's fine. It's fine. I should have two sewing machines. And because I had a sewing machine from my mom passed away 15 years ago now. And I had a sewing machine for my mom that was a Husqvarna Viking, which is another excellent brand. In fact, Husqvarna Viking and Pfaff are owned by the same like mother brand. They're both under the Singer like headline. Anyways, she had this computerized Husqvarna Viking embroidery machine, and the motherboard on that was not in shape. It needed to be replaced or whatever. And I was looking at this machine going, well, I kind of want to replace this machine. So in my brain, I thought, well, when I buy a new machine, I'll buy a Husqvarna Viking in honor of my mom. And it was a lovely machine. I used this machine. I made over 300 masks right away, like in like early days of the pandemic. And I did make a number of things on that machine. It was a good machine. I had it that was early days of 2020, and now it's 2024. So I had that machine for 4 years. But I realized over the course of the 4 years, it wasn't like a fun machine, if that makes sense. Like I didn't sit down and relax. There was always something I had to do. And Pfaff has this really great feature called an integrated walking foot, or it's called IDT because it's integrated dual feed technology. I think that's I is integrated, D is for dual feed, and T is for technology. I believe those are what the IDT means, but it's basically an integrated walking foot. And when you're doing a lot of quilting or working with cuddle or working with stretch fabrics or bag making, or working with vinyl, you want to have that walking foot feature. And so on my FAF Select, which I use constantly, I use my IDT, my integrated walking foot. Well, if I want to do anything over on that Husqvarna Viking, I would have to switch into my walking foot, which meant just popping off my old ankle and screwing on another one. Now that sounds fairly simple, except like it was the weirdest angle screwdriver, like to get into like where you unscrewed it. And I always had to like remove the swing arm part because my hand was like big, I guess. Anyways, it was always a hassle. And it was just one more thing that made it less enjoyable to use the machine, was constantly having to switch into the walking foot, out of the walking foot, into the walking foot, out of the walking foot. I couldn't just sit down and sew. It seems like such a small thing. And for 4 years, I kept telling myself, this is a small inconvenience. This is a small inconvenience. Get over it. But I realized after 4 years, I used that machine less and less and less, and used my FAF Select more and more and more. And then my FAF Select is a great machine for making bags. It's a great machine for working with vinyl, but I didn't really love doing like clothing on it. And I've really wanted to make more clothing recently. And I just thought, here I have this, I invested this money in this computerized machine and I barely use it. And I still want that computerized, I still want the feature of a computerized machine. I want to be able to program my own stitches. I want to be able to have like this catalog of excellent stitches in general. I want to be able to press go and not have to put my foot on it. Like all these little things that I had invested the money into, I still wanted access to those features. And I had spent money already. So I traded in my machine and I got another FAF. And I love my new FAF because it still has the integrated walking foot. It still has the IDT, like my FAF Select. So my FAF 720, I love it. But now I needed 2 sewing tables because I'm using both sewing machines like all the time, because the other sewing machine just kind of like got shoved off to the corner and I would bring it out when I had to use it. But now these 2 sewing machines have their own dedicated tables, so I can go back and forth. I can sew on a bag, I can sew on a shirt, because that's what I learned about myself. This is what I know about me. As much as I love to make things, I also have, I guess, ADD, and I need to be able to bounce between projects. I need to be able to work on one thing for 2 hours and work on something completely separate for another hour. I need to have black thread on one thing and white thread on another. I need to be able to go back and forth. Stretch needle over here, sharp needle over there, just be able to bounce. That's how I work. And I have the space and I have the ability. So I'm a grown-up. I can do it. I can do it. I work hard for my money. I have invested my money in this. I don't spend my money on fancy designer clothes. I spend my money on my sewing room. So here it is. That's my spiel for this morning. But like I said, it's Saturday and I sew. I've been talking for 14 minutes and not sewing anything. So I take my son to a doctor's appointment in like 2 hours. So that's why I'm already showered. I don't know if you can tell, but I am showered and I combed my hair and everything. So I am going to turn the camera around. I'll film some cutting because I have to cut some fabric first before I can sew some fabric. And yeah, so I'm going to do that. I'll turn you around. You can watch me at least cut some fabric this morning before I have to take him to his appointment. Thanks for being here. Please like, please subscribe, and maybe I'll have more stories of more things very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.